So hello and welcome to the channel. In this video what I'm going to be showing you is 5 locations where you can build a squad base. That's for people I'd say for more than 4 or over. So if you're interested in looking out for some locations where you can build a decent base for more than 4 people, then stick around and watch the video. Hit the sub button and the like button and all the good stuff, and if you can think of anything else I've missed today, then be sure to comment below, and obviously that I can check out new locations as well. So cheers guys, let's get into the video. Alright, so starting with number 5 then is this location here, okay? So I'm going to show you where we are on the map first. So we are between Svenograd, if that's the best way of pronouncing it, and Novid, right? So that's where we are based on the map. It's in this location here. Now what we're going to be looking at is you have a few options for these, okay? So first of all, you've got this building here. Now this is a massive building. It also allows you access to the roof. You can enter the roof through there. Alright, and there is only one entrance and exit point, which is at the front of the building. So it would only be blocking that door up, and you have yourself a base which you can defend. And if you look inside this building is massive, with also a second tier. Again, you can go up to the roof, and out through this window here. And you've even got access to this roof as well. So you could build another structure on that roof. Again, you could even jump down from that roof and build watchtowers in on the garages along or wherever. But you could turn that into a massive sort of fortress. And in fact, I'm looking at this now. This is where I might decide to build my next base. But further to that, okay, the other option you got as well is not only have you got the spare building here, it's not only have you got the spare building there if you wanted to, you have got some further options for bigger buildings. What I like about this place as well is, again, with like I've seen, I don't know if you've seen my last video, but I also look for places around with water. So there's plenty of there's a water source there. You just need chlorine tablets for. There's also a small barn there, which again would only need one door to block off, and you've got yourself a massive base. Me personally, if there's only 3 or 4 of you, or maybe 4 or 5, I might use this place. If there are more of you, then you could convert this into a compound. I mean, what a nice spot this is. Map location wise, it's not near any massive militaries, but you have got the airstrip down here that you could use. Oyster as well, obviously there's a couple of buildings, and you have got 1 or 2, but it is quite far north. But I quite like that location for a base. So the other thing with this location, if you didn't have chlorine tablets, you couldn't use the water which is there. Okay, just down here is a well. So you are about, what's that, 50 meters from a well, 100 meters? But that is not far at all. So you've got permanent water, whether it's with chlorine tablets or whether it's with a well. And also then you've got places to loot. Again with this location, you could use these high-rise rooftops. If you wanted to, you could put a location on the rooftop. You've also got things like the rock faces up here. So if you just wanted an area with a bit of a view, you could put them on the rock faces. But again, I like this sort of location on there. But it depends what sort of server you're on and how hardcore the server is, as in PvP-wise. But plenty of options in this area, I would say, for a decent squad base. So that's the first choice of location that we'll see today. Let's move on to the rest. Alright, so the next place I'm going to go for is Viber Industrial Estate. Purely for the fact is, we built a big admin base here before in an old server, but purely for the fact is these buildings, there are 3 of these buildings. Now these buildings are massive, so you can see 2 of them there and there's 1 there. Not only that, but you also have this shed here, which again is big. There's plenty of spaces to loot, and obviously you've got the watchtower here, which you could create. Well, there's a nice jerry can there, which you can create a good view from, a good vantage point from. So this is a really good place. Now if you look inside these buildings, the only downside to these big buildings, okay, you can access the roof, which will need blocking off. But if you've got access to this roof and nobody else, you can again put watchtowers up there. A friend and I actually built watchtowers going across here, so we joined the 2 roofs together. So that's also something that can be done. When building with these buildings, just be careful to block this door. You've got that door on the side, and then that door at the front. They're the only 2 doors you have. Again, with this one, you can see the side door, and if you spin round, you've got the front door. There are no other exit or entry points. You can shoot through the windows, so that is something you need to be careful of. But just taking you inside this building, I mean, look at the space you've got inside there. 1 gate will block that door off. 1 gate then blocks the side door off. There's storage room here. There's another bit of storage room in here. Not much, but enough for a couple of barrels maybe. So there is actually plenty of room to build in here. Like I said, you would have to watch getting sniped through the windows if you're on a PvP server. The other good thing about Viber is not just the size of it. Half of it's walled in and half of it's fenced in. Now because of the size of it, if you wanted to block the whole thing off, it can be done. But I'm not going to lie, it would take a bit of work, purely for the fact as well, is if you look around, there are a couple of big trees in Viber Industrial itself, but there's not a great deal of wood close to hand. You would have to go and source wood probably from over here or somewhere, but you would have to source wood. If you wanted to keep a building which is just outside of camp, outside of base, you've got this big shed there, if you wanted to use that for anything. The other good thing about Viber is what they say, location, location, location. You can probably see in the distance there is the airfield. So that's how close you are from the airfield. It's right on your doorstep pretty much. You've got the whole airfield. If you're playing on a modded server as well, you'll have the likes of airdrops. Obviously they spawn around the airfield. But not just that. If you look where we are on the map, okay? So this is the map. This is where we are, okay? So on the normal airdrop mod, you get one in Northwest Airfield, one in Starry, one in Novi. Alright, so a lot of airdrops fall around this location. You also get one that drops in Zlen and one just outside, which drops around, it says around here somewhere, I think. So from Viber, you've got good access. It's a T-junction. There's good access to going south, so you can hit Zlen or even drop down to the coast. But there's also good access to go north as well. It's a really good, I know it's not bang in the centre of the map, but it's a really, really good position. The other thing you've got in Viber as well is you've got a hospital, a police station and a well and a garage. So everything really is on tap. So if you look at Viber from the air, okay, you've got the petrol garage in the distance here. Plenty of fuel. You've got your hospital there. And then you've got your well, which is just there. So everything really is on tap from this position. It's a good position you can block off, and it's just a massive chunk of position with a lot of stuff that's all in close proximity. Like I said, the airfield, you've got Viber Industrial, you've got Viber itself. Also, forget about it, you've got VMC. So you've got another military area just here. So the distance, I think the distance from there to there is about 800 meters, and I think the distance from Viber to the edge of the airfield there, I know from this barn here to the edge of the airfield is something like 580 meters or something. So it's not far from Luton. So that's going to come into my second one of the day, guys. I'm not naming these in particular order 1 to 5, but obviously we've had the first one, that's the second one. I think that would make a really good squad base. So let's go on to the next one. So the next one I'm going to go for is this little farm here, okay? So there's a lot to do with this farm. I know it's not massive as such, but like you can see now, the majority of it is fenced off. It doesn't take a great deal to put a few fences up to block the entire thing off. There is only one road in, which is there. Alright, and there's loads of room here. So if somebody was coming across the ground here and you wanted to snipe them, you could build several watchtowers and they'd be perfect sniping points. Although you would struggle to see people coming through these trees. Like him. But then again, we did spot him. Going through where you would build then, right? Number one, and the obvious one, is you've got this big massive barn here, okay? So this is a big size barn. Obviously it's not small, you can fit quite a few stuff in there. You've also got the smaller barn there. Again, you can fit stuff in here. You've got this barn. Again, with storage space. Couldn't put a great deal of tents in here. But things like barrels, etc., rifle racks, whatever. All the good stuff you could fit in there. You've also got the house you could store stuff as well. Again, it's got a few entrances, the house. I wouldn't recommend really using this. But it is available for extra storage if you needed it. What I like about this place is the vantage point. You can see for absolute miles. Now, I did have a base here on an old server. What I did find as well is that we'd get lots of sheep about the place and pigs. So there was plenty of things to eat and good animals to kill. So this is where we are on the actual map, okay? So we're not really close to much. Now we have got a big military base just south. Well, I say big, it's not massive, but it is a military base with a hospital and you can get it. You can get supplies from there. You can also, there is a water well there, and a few other things you can loot there. But more predominantly, you've got Zlen just north of it. You've got a decent sized military camp in Zlen. It's not that far away to the direct run. Again, there's water, hospital, police station. Again, there's fuel. So you're in a decent spot. The only thing I'd say about that spot really is, to me, it's a little far south. I prefer to go a little bit further north. Just going to show you now where the well is, because I do like obviously showing people where the water is, the local water supply. The local water supply is... I knew it was somewhere, I'm going blind, it's right there. The other thing in this point as well you do get cars spawning. I have found a car spawn there, and you do find the odd car that spawns in this location. To get to it, obviously you're on the main road there. So to turn off is literally just turn off and then follow this road round. And then you're straight down to it. Again, what I did is I put watchtowers up right round the front of there. And then I had an entrance here with an airlock. And obviously, the highest up the watchtower probably went was probably about this high. So I had good obs all the way around. Again, if you wanted to build a watchtower up there, you can get access to this roof and put watchtowers in here as well. So there are really good vantage points. There's a lot of good storage spaces. If you wanted to condense it a bit smaller, you could just put watchtowers around the 2 barns and just create this inner space as a living space. I mean, really, it's entirely up to you. But this is number 3, guys. Like I said, it's not the most spectacular base around, but I think it's a really good spot to build a decent base. You're kind of out of the way. You've got a lot of protection. You've got wood on tap. So if you wanted to make watchtowers, planks, etc., the wood is absolutely on tap. You've got water not too far away. You've got animals that spawn in for food. So it's a decent place that's out of the way, guys. So let's check out number 4. The next place we're going to go for then is the school on the outside of Svenograd. I mean, if you look at this place is massive. There are a couple of downsides to this place. Now, there are a load of entrance and exit points. I mean, that is something you'd have to consider. What I do like about this place here is the gym. I mean, this place is massive, can store a lot of stuff. Again, you'd have to consider being sniped through the windows, and you've got a door there and a door there. Obviously, they would need blocking up, but if you were to close the whole school off in general, now you could do this, but like I said, this place is huge. Another good thing about this place is you do have access to rooftops, so you can have vantage points. Again, you could be placed at vantage points anywhere. The only thing I'd say about this place with vantage points is beware. Up here, you could be sniped from. Now, I mean, in this general location of the school, not only have you got the choice of the school, which is there, you have also got these buildings here, which you could turn into a base. That would also be another good spot. And just over here, you have 2 barns, 2 of the big barns, which are close together. So you'd need a fence going across the front of that and the back of it, and you could create almost like a rat run between them. And then you could have also 2 big buildings up here. And again, it wouldn't take much to put a watchtower then in the middle of there to gain access to the roof and to gain another vantage point. So I think this is a really good place location-wise for a squad base. Again, you've got access to the water there. Like again, as I said before, you'd need chlorine tablets. There is a well in Svenograd. We'll just have a quick look at Svenograd now and see what's about. So there is a well there, which is not too far away. Okay, again, you've got police, you've got fire station, you've got fuel and a hospital. You've got plenty of places that you can loot. You've also got the small military, which is there. Again, I think it's only like 2 tents that are there. But it's not too far away from where we were at the first location, which was this area here. So it's not too far away from that location. So map-wise, you're in a pretty similar spot. It just gives you slightly more different options. I've never built in this place before, but I have built in these 2 barns here. We actually built the base that came out the front, round and back on itself with like an airlock in between the 2 sheds. So that can be done, and like I said, it's a good vantage point. I'm just going to change the weather just so we can see. Well, now the weather is actually nice, so we can actually see. As you can see, we've got plenty of options. Plenty of options here. You've got the 2 barns. You've got the high-rise buildings, so there are only 2 of them. There's not much above you. I mean, you could get on the roof up there, I suppose, and be sniped up, but there's not much above you. And this place is massive. Plenty of room to drive a car in between here, so you could have a decent car garage if you wanted to. Yes, you would need to block off the sides of watchtowers or fences, etc. But you could park a few vehicles in this area. By the looks of it, you could even get one of them trucks under there. Loot-wise, obviously you've got houses and stuff you can loot here. You've got greenhouses and sheds, etc. as well. And then Svenograd itself is quite a decent size. So as you can see, size-wise, there are a few places you can loot. So as we look down on Svenograd now, there are a few areas obviously that you can loot. And again, you're not too far from militaries like TayZ, you're a bit closer. I'm just going to show you Svenograd Military. So like I said, it's actually 3 tents on a container. So that might be something that might be worth looting. Another good thing about the school location here is just around us we have forests. So it doesn't look like there'd be a lot of problems actually achieving a lot of wood. We are surrounded by quite a few trees. This is an area that you'd be able to build up, especially, like I said, this is mostly designed for around a few players. So if you had a few players, obviously bear in mind that that would make a few players building as well. So logs, trees, planks, etc. are all on tap, and you could do this into a solid base location. I mean, looking at it from the air here, that back wall's pretty covered up. Again, you'd have to do the door and the area up to the roof. but then it is only that side slot and that front slot and a few doors, and you would have the whole place cordoned off. So a decent size for any base. So that's the fourth one. I'm going to show you one more, and then we're going to call it a day. So let's go to the last one. Just before we go to the last one, I'm just going to take you inside the school. I realise I haven't actually done that at the minute. So that's obviously the sports hall, if that's what you want to call it. Then you've got corridors upon corridors. You've even got second floors, all with rooms. Again, third floors with rooms. So there's loads of storage here. Absolutely loads of storage you could put up in this. It is a bit of a maze, to be honest. So I just wanted to quickly show you the amount of storage. Obviously you've got a few garages where you can loot or even block off if you wanted to. You've got a gatehouse, again, which you can loot or block off. So this just gives you loads of options. So guys, like I said just now, let's get on to the last one. So the last place we're going to go for is this red barn in Lappatino. Now this is a personal favourite of mine. I do like this spot. It's very open, it's clear, and obviously the red barns themselves are massive, and you can also build around the outside of them. Again, like I said with the other places, if you're on a player versus player server, you've got good vantage points, you can actually get up high. One of the only negatives about this is looking around. Yes, there are trees, but when I built here before, I had to get trees from down there. So I did need a vehicle. It would be a long walk back and forth there for every log, so it would be best to get a vehicle. Now inside these red barns, for those of you who don't know, these red barns are huge. So we do have 2 containers here. Yes, I can see 3, okay, but we only got 2 that we can enter. Now there's good sides and bad points about these containers. Number 1, they do take up a bit of storage space. Alright, but number 2, you can find military items in there. So they do spawn in military items. Like you can see there's some pouches in that one. And there's an NBC hood in this one. Even with them 2 containers or 3 containers in there, you do still have loads of storage space. The other thing I like about these red barns is you've got this run around the top up here. So you can build a run around. Obviously you can build fences up there with watchtowers, and you know, you can have vantage points. And like I said, from this area you can see now, you can see a lot of ground from this sort of height. You do have a few areas in these places that you have to block off. So you can crawl through that there. You can jump over that small wall there. This ladder will need blocking off. Along with that door. The foot of that ladder there going up. And then obviously the other door. So there are a few areas where you will have to block off, but like I said, it can be done. You have a few things around here that do spawn a bit of loot, like you can get hammers, etc. in the shed and stuff. Okay, there's a lighter there at the moment. If you wanted to build a fire inside, you've got this. You can use the fire there, but I just tend to use a fire barrel. If you're looking at water, there's a well right in Lappatino, which is right. Oh, there you go, there. So it's not far to get water. I have found as well on a couple of times on different servers a car spawn point. Cars will spawn around this area here. So along this street you'll get cars that will spawn in. So if you needed a vehicle, obviously they've got more chance. But these red barns in general are great. They are absolutely huge. Just look at the size of that. I mean, you could put loads in there. I did see a friend on an old server that did actually utilise this space as well. So what they did is, if you can see just the white dot on the screen, is they built watchtowers from the corner there right down to the side there with entrance points, and again across the back there, and then they built watchtowers right round and they blocked off these doors here, and then they actually had the whole red barn which was all blocked in, along with then, yes, you had to go up the ladder there and in, but you had access to at that point, and they obviously had a gate up there as well with like a code lock and stuff. But they created all this into like almost a car park, where they had like tents and all that sort of stuff, so you can make the spot even bigger. I mean, it would take a lot of logs, but you've already got a fence starting going right round. You could continue that fence right round if you wished. I mean, you could use the side of the grass there just to use it as an edge and go right round. Obviously, I'm not sure you'd need something that big. Not, well, maybe not unless you were on like a PvE server where, you know, you weren't going to get attacked or whatever. The other thing about Lappatino as well, and this goes the same almost for Viber Industrial Estate, is where we are on the map. Again, the same as Viber, we've got Northwest Airfield, which is just there. We've also got the small military area over there, which you can access. You've got some looting that can be done there in Lappatino. The other thing I like about this map is the road again, the same as Viber. You're pretty much straight on a main road. So you come out of the area there. Obviously I've put myself just out of the way for this, but this is the area we're looking at. But you come out of the area, you're on a main road. So you can either go north or south straight away. You can just go straight into the airfield if you wish. I always go Viber way. I don't think you can get in this way. You might be able to get in through the fence, but I'm not sure if you can drive. But I tend just to come down to Viber, go up and go in this way. Like I said before, airdrops will spawn in this area and around. If you're playing on a modded server with a trader, it's easy to get to Green Mountain. Green Mountain's there, so it is just a matter of just dropping straight down the road all the way into Green Mountain. So for Lappatino as well, location is an awesome point. Pretty much for this base there, okay, there are a few red barns around the map. Now I am partial to building a red barn because I think it just gives you everything that you need. Space wise, it gives you everything. So they're my 5 locations I would use for a squad base. Yes, obviously there's a chance for more and there are more options available. And actually where I'm building now on my current server isn't any of them locations myself. But I think they are good choices for either location wise or for access to water, but not just that, access to military camps, woodlands, etc., and obviously to make the build a bit easier. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you have chosen anywhere else? Is there anything else you would have thought would have been a better location? Because if there's anything I like doing, I like looking at new places. Even though I've probably built a load of bases in my time on DayZ servers, there is nothing I like more than just looking around and obviously going about and seeing what you can build, where you can build, building something new. I try on most of my servers to build something new all the time. So if I built in one area, I'll try and build somewhere else the next time. But guys, that's the video today. Thanks very much for watching. Like I said, anything else you can think of, drop me a comment below. And I'll catch you next time, and cheers.